In the quiet heart of rural Texas, where land is legacy and silence speaks louder than words, one man's world was shattered, not by a storm, but by a neighbor's pride. This is the true story of a fallen tree, a crushed tractor, and a battle for justice that stirred an entire community. Some roots run too deep to be cut, and this time, they fought back. Rafael Moreno had always lived quietly. His ranch, tucked along the outskirts of Cedar Ridge, Texas, wasn't much to outsiders, a modest spread of dry grass, rusted tools, and a creaky front porch, but it was everything to him. It had been in his family for 3 generations, passed down like a sacred promise. And in the center of it all stood a towering oak tree, older than memory, wide enough to shade a pickup truck, and rooted deep in family history. It had been where his father proposed to his mother, where Rafael buried his childhood dog, and where he sat every morning with his coffee, watching the mist curl off the pasture. So, when he heard the crack of splintering wood one quiet morning, he ran. What he found stopped his heart. The oak was gone, laid flat like a fallen soldier. And beneath its massive trunk lay the twisted remains of his tractor, the one he had rebuilt bolt by bolt, the one that kept his land breathing. Standing nearby, arms folded and smug as ever, was Karen Whitley. She didn't blink as Raphael approached. Her hair was perfectly sprayed, her lips curved like a polished weapon. "I did you a favor," she said. Raphael didn't speak. His jaw tightened as he pulled out his phone. Karen didn't flinch. She looked right into the camera and said, "The tree was a safety hazard. I had it removed. You're welcome. No permit, no warning, no apology." Karen was president of the Whispering Pines HOA, a title she wore like armor. Her jurisdiction ended several hundred yards before Raphael's property began. But that never stopped her. To her, Raphael's land was a stain on her curated world of matching mailboxes and manicured lawns. 2 weeks earlier, she'd shown up with a clipboard, muttering about the tree leaning menacingly toward HOA property. Raphael had said the same thing he always did: "My land, my tree." She left without a word. But 2 days later, he found a printed notice stapled to his fence, demanding the removal of the oak within 48 hours. He had laughed then, thinking it was another of her hollow threats. But now the tree was gone, and no one was laughing. When the sheriff's deputy arrived, he watched the video Raphael had recorded and gave a tight, uncomfortable shrug. "Looks like a civil matter to me. A civil matter. A century-old tree felled without consent. A destroyed tractor. Trespassing?" And the only thing Raphael could do was sue. That's what the law said. Raphael turned to Dale Bishop, a retired judge who'd taken up property law after leaving the bench. Dale had a slow drawl and a fast mind. He told Raphael to document everything, to say nothing to Karen, and to let her keep digging her own grave. And she did. 2 days later, a crew showed up and started building a fence across Raphael's western boundary. Not a modest fence, either 6 feet tall with ornamental caps and a sign that read, "Private HOA property." Raphael said nothing. He just called Dale and hired a land surveyor. What they found was even worse than expected. Karen's new fence crossed 9 feet into Raphael's land. The surveyor provided drone footage, still images, and coordinates accurate to the inch. And while Karen shouted orders at her workers, Raphael filmed everything from behind his barn. Then came her email. "You're responsible for the mess left behind by your tree," she wrote. "It's lowering property values." Dale nearly spilled his coffee laughing. They added the email to the case file. By now, the folder was thick with evidence: trespassing, property damage, false claims, and a video confession. But before filing anything in court, Raphael did something else. He posted a 30-second clip online: the fallen tree, the ruined tractor, Karen's calm admission. It started with a few shares. Then dozens, then hundreds. The local Facebook group picked it up. A farming community page reposted it. Within days, Karen became a symbol of HOA overreach. Her smug smile frozen in a frame shared across rural Texas. Rafael didn't gloat. He kept working, feeding goats, fixing fences, letting the storm swirl around him while he stood still. At the next HOA meeting, Karen showed up dressed like she was about to run for governor. Perfume thick, blazer crisp, chin high. But Dale came too. He laid out the evidence like a poker hand, the video, the survey, the emails, the drone shots. Silence followed. Then murmurs. Then gasps. The HOA board voted unanimously to disavow Karen's actions. They offered to pay for the fence removal and the tractor. But Rafael said nothing. He let Dale handle it. Then Karen did something no one expected. She sued. She claimed defamation, said Rafael had ruined her reputation, destroyed her standing, and caused emotional distress. But when the judge saw the video, the survey, and heard Dale's calm dismantling of her claims, he dismissed the case with prejudice. In court, Karen's confident voice cracked, her hands trembled. The cameras that once flattered her now captured her unraveling. After that, Karen vanished. No more newsletters, no more complaints. The HOA cleaned up their side of the fence and paid every penny they owed. Then one evening, a black sedan rolled down Rafael's gravel driveway. Karen sat inside, motionless. She didn't get out, didn't wave, just stared at the ranch for a long moment before backing out and driving away into the dusk. A week later, a check arrived, full compensation. No note. Rafael didn't cash it immediately. He waited. Let the silence settle. Let the land breathe. Then he went to the fallen oak. With help from a neighbor, he carved a wide bench from its trunk, smooth and solid. He placed it in the same spot the tree had stood, overlooking the field. Locals began to stop by just to sit there, to hear the story. They called it the justice seat. He didn't call it that himself. He just told the truth. Life returned to normal. The goats grazed. The fields hummed. The new tractor, a solid machine he named Karen Crusher, as a private joke, ran like a dream. The fence was rebuilt where it belonged. Rafael fixed the irrigation lines, built a new shelter for the animals. One day, he was invited to speak at a landowners conference. He wasn't much for public speaking, but he went, stood in his boots and jeans, and told them what he'd learned. He spoke about boundaries, not just property lines, but personal ones, about the danger of quiet people being underestimated, about how, sometimes, justice doesn't come in the form of sirens or speeches. Sometimes, it comes in silence, in staying steady, in letting truth do the talking. He never said Karen's name. He didn't have to. That night, as the sun fell behind the hills and the wind curled through the grass, Rafael sat on the bench where the oak had once stood. He sipped his tea, watched the goats settle, felt the land beneath him not just owned, but understood. The oak was gone, but its roots were still there, and they were deeper than anyone could see.